slow so he could understand.
And Suzanne promised me a free lunch on you for that, Mark, so I'll give you a call about
Well, let me
that.
tell you.
Sounds fun.
Martino owes me about 20 free lunches, so I'll pass one of those
Hey,
on
Dan,
to you.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Doc, real quick.
Hey, Dan, if somebody's looking for a specific kind of lawyer, let's say family law or estate law or whatever,
bankruptcy, whatever,
can they call the Bar Association and ask for a list of attorneys that specialize in that field if they don't know where to go?
That's a great question. I think so, but I'm not exactly sure. I know there used to be a directory of all the lawyers in Colorado that would list a specialty area, but they stopped printing that about 2 years ago.
Maybe it's online now.
It could be online.
Well, there you go. Doc actually answered a good question.
I asked a good question.
All right, hold on. Suzanne wants to say something to you off air. Anyhow, listen, folks, I have to take a break. I'm way over. Ugly Ed's getting uglier by the minute. I like this upbeat Christmas music. 303-713-8255. We have some lines open. We've got a couple updates. Who is this? Who does this version?
Rock Heroes.
Rock Heroes. I kind of like that one, actually.
She didn't see me creep down the stairs to have a breathe.
All right, 303-713-8255. Suzanne, let's go back to this case real quick. We just got the faxes on from the parole officer. He did fax over his picture, his business card, his badge. He looks legit.
So next step is we've got to talk to Bonnie Shields to go further with this, and she is not available for us till 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and we've got some reservations here, not necessarily whether the story's true or not anymore, but the reservations are this. This guy gets out of prison. His kids are with his wife in Florida. He gets out of prison here. His parole officer calls. The wife, who's got the kids in Florida, committed suicide in the last few days, right?
Kids are over with the neighbors in Florida.
Yeah, the kids are in Florida with the neighbors, and he can't leave the state to get out there. The parole officers has tried different things. So they're trying to get the kids out here. And then, of course, this guy's in a halfway house. So you go, well, where would the 10 and 12-year-old live? Well, apparently his father, the parole guy, the parolee, his father was not on great terms with him prior to him going to prison. But now that he's out, is willing to have the kids come out. But we don't know any of this. I mean, we don't know if this old guy's good for the kids. I mean, we don't know what's going on.
And then if he is, does he have things for the girls, a bed? Now, I did have a gentleman who helps people like this. He said if the grandfather pans out, he would have clothes, beds, furniture, dresser, anything for these girls to help get them set up out here if it all works out.
Very cool. Well, let's hope this does work out. And our in-house doctor, Deputy Doc, agreed to pay for the two girls to fly out here.
Absolutely. I'll pay for their airfare to get them out here.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. 303.
So let me tell you about my how I got served for my parking ticket.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about this. So but wait, we got to tell everybody. It was a red light or a speed light? What was it?
It was a red light.
But it was a camera ticket. You didn't actually get pulled over.
Correct.
Okay.
And so I got the I got the thing in the mail.
Yep.
And forgot about it. And then yesterday I had someone come to my house
and serve
me with a
must
summons.
be Denver.
It was in Denver County.
Okay.
So now I either have to go to court or I have to pay the ticket.
Well, you definitely have to go to court or pay the ticket.
I'm going to pay
true.
the ticket.
Now, if you pay the ticket, even though they served you now, do they still waive all the points?
There are no points for going through the red light. It's just you pay the ticket.
Well, I think if you go to court and lose, they do assess points.
Right, but I'm going to just pay the ticket, no points. No
you know what's curious? What'd they do? Just knock on your door?
They knocked on my door. I thought it might be a census.
I've always wondered about this, and I'm not going to say it happened to me, but maybe it did. And maybe it was in Denver, and maybe it was very similar to what you said. Seriously, maybe the same thing, and I did go to court.
Anyway, so I thought it was maybe census take, or I was expecting a package.
And they got you.
And for a red light ticket, I wasn't overly concerned about it. He wasn't going to drag me away to court. Just have to.
Yeah.
Now I have to pay the ticket.
You know, the best service I've ever seen, and Dan always says, don't tell people because then they'll know if they listen to the show. But Deputy Clint came up with the most basic thing in the world, and it works every time. What does somebody always want? a package. And if the box says Amazon on it, there's smiles usually from ear to ear. So he'll simply take an old Amazon package in a box and tape it. And he'll walk up, and he'll have the service papers right inside and open the box at the last second and go, "You've been served."
Yeah, but Mark, you did that.
Brilliant.
When you served my guy.
Oh, the auctioneer.
Off the golf course.
Oh, the golf course. That stupid kid fell for it, too. I had to serve this guy. So, Dan, I did it as a favor to Dan. I mean, we do it for listeners. So I said, I might as well do it for Dan. So I freaking go to a golf course. I got the kid's name. I know he works like in the caddy shack. So I walk up and I go, where's so-and-so? And they're like, oh, he's somewhere in between hole 3 and 18. Maintenance. He's a maintenance worker. So I walked about 3 holes, and here's a group of, guys kind of goofing off to a degree, but they look like they were working. And I'm holding this package, and I'm like, hey, where's so-and-so? I got something for him. And the stupid kid raised his hand up. And I said, you've been served. And then I walked off. Dang it, though, Doc. Okay, on my speeding ticket, real quick, here's what I did. God, it wasn't speeding, it was red light, and it wasn't me, so I'm going to take it all back. Wasn't me. But let's say they have a photograph of you running a red light, okay? Now, what happens if there was, hypothetically, a fire truck or ambulance behind you, and you had to go through the intersection, and of course the camera doesn't know, and I couldn't even ask, or this person couldn't even ask the camera any questions. So guess what happened?
I have no idea.
It was dropped.
Well, it should be if that was the case.
That's right. But how would they prove if that's the case or not is what I'm saying. Well, I fundamentally don't like red light or speeding tickets because I can't even ask questions. And if something does happen, like an ambulance behind you or anything, a cop behind you telling you to move.
You always have the option of going to court to fight it and telling your side of the story.
That's right. But who do you say your side of the story. Who is telling the other side of the story? The camera?
Well, then you're in good shape because the camera doesn't show up, so it's a slam dunk.
Yeah. It's just frustrating in general that we now have to show up to court if they do service you and say, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. Here's what happens. It's a pain in the ass. Hold on. I want to come back and talk to our guest before we end the show. All right, 303-713-8255. I want to talk to our guest real quick. Mike, Garden of the Gods, HomesInc.com. Actually, GOG Homes, correct?
Yes.
.com. Look at this guy's work. If you want a custom-built house, and on top of that, if you're looking at building another structure on your property, maybe, a detached garage. What are other things you get calls on all the time, Mike?
Shops.
Shops are a big one. Yeah, and you're anywhere in the Pikes Peak region. Now, will you build stuff here in Denver or Castle Rock? Where? Where does it stop? Monument?
It kind of depends on how interesting it is. So,
how big the project or what it is?
Not necessarily how big it is, but whether there's something challenging.
Well, because you do a lot of renovations on older properties in Colorado
we do
Springs.
Historical renovation work, yes.
That's very cool. Check this guy's work out. He's built hundreds and hundreds of homes. He's done a lot of different structures. 4th-generation builder on our referral list. He's a great guy. I hope you enjoyed being in today. Is it what you thought?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's like,
I got to be careful what I say. But,
he didn't realize I'd bring up stuff he says during break, like the wife that, no, it wasn't his wife. It was your girlfriend that you told to hit the bricks, basically.
Yeah.
And you're afraid she's listening to bring that up. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But really, check his work out, GOGHomes.com, GOGHomes.com. Doc brought up something interesting. Now, Ugly Ed, this has nothing to do with me, but I just realized why. You're from Arkansas, right? Were you born there?
Yes, I was.
We were just looking at the TV, and it was another unsolved Arkansas crime. And I asked Doc, I said, Doc, how come it's always in Arkansas where, he's a doctor, man. He knows these things. How come Arkansas, they never solve crimes compared to the other states? And Doc said something that's prolific.
What is that, Doc?
Said you guys all have the same DNA and there are no dental records. So how can you solve a crime?
I love it. Same DNA, no dental records.
That ought to generate a call or two.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm learning more about Deputy Doc. I could do a 4-hour show just with Deputy Doc talking about Deputy Doc's life. You know, he was talking about, how old are you, Doc? 70?
75.
75 years old. This guy, for a while, you were playing the field online. At what age? What age did you have all these profiles?
Well, I got divorced in 2005, so that's when I started looking for a girlfriend.
So about 10 years ago. Actually, almost 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
You started online dating.
Absolutely. I didn't start it. I used it.
How often? I mean, is there a lot of people 65 to 75 that are on?
Absolutely.
Gosh dang. Mike, did you ever do that after your divorce? Were you ever online dating?
My wife and I met online.
Oh, which site?
Well, we were on different sites. I was on Senior People Meet, and she was on Match.com, and I guess they kind of trade profiles.
They profiles.
Migrate profiles.
Look who just walked in on time for once. I try to talk a little. I try to say nice things about you, Michael Brown. And I try to figure out.
That's a load of crap.
It's called crossover.
Hey, can I have a problem with my refrigerator. No, actually, I have a serious consumer question.
What is it?
Do you know that as talk show hosts, we can't get personal umbrella liability policies?
I'll tell you what. They say I'm in a worse scenario than you are because of the nature of what I do and the nature of what Martino does. I actually spent 4 hours filling out paperwork for someone that said that they would give us.
They get you one?
Yeah, and let me tell you, did not happen.
Yeah.
As soon as they heard that I used the word scumbag and I call companies out, and I'll tell you if it's a bad company.
Right.
They said no. Now, I don't understand why you couldn't get something.
Because when every form I filled out online or the agent I've talked to, what do? Well, I'm a talk show host. Sorry.
Then it's over.
Boom.
What are you going to be talking about?
The word of the day, inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Inappropriate.
Everything, yeah. The Inspector
Are you talking
General,
about my board op?
Yes. The board op, in fact, everybody in this room
is inappropriate.
Yeah, inappropriate.
All right, Michael Brown coming up. I'll see you tomorrow right here on 630 KHOW.